conversations that come to you as an afterthought. This is But Seriously, We Mean It.
We're just two curious people with lots to say about anything and everything.
No, but seriously, we mean it.
Let's talk black tax and the complexities of black tax. Should we even be calling it black tax?
I worry about it being called a tax because it seems as if it's something that it's a bit forced. I think sometimes when you say it's black tax, it's like, I have to do it, which is the reality of many South Africans. I'm not going to take that away from the situation. I don't know. For me, it's a very complex issue. Because people say that it stops them from achieving certain dreams. It stops them from, reaching a level that they thought they would reach at a certain age. But because you have to go back and give back, it seems like it's a stumbling block to your career.
There's a very interesting dynamic that I don't know whether we've explored as South Africans specifically. Okay. That how we measure success, shouldn't we look at being able to provide as somewhat an element of having achieved success or getting a step closer to success? Yeah. And then also, Mbali, I think the way we've been cultured, sometimes it's almost as though even if you're not really forced to provide, you feel compelled to provide. It's a way of saying thank you, I appreciate you. It's a way of saying you don't have to suffer when I'm around. Can I treat you?
I think it's the thing that you just mentioned about it being measuring success in terms of what do I have, and as opposed to measuring success by being able to provide. Which side would you rather be on? Because I feel like if you are at an advantage of being able to provide, that alone should make you feel happy. It should make you feel at ease and at peace that I'm able to provide for myself. And not only am I able to provide for myself, but I'm able to make other people's lives a bit better without being compelled to do so sometimes. Sometimes it's forced because without you, there's nothing that's going to happen. But sometimes it's like I see a need somewhere, and if I have it, then why not give my family or my extended family or my friends?
I think another mistake that we do when we have such conversations is also speaking from a position of privilege and not confronting our realities. Let's talk about our family structures and the type of climates that we have kwezi families zethu. You will find that it feels like a burden when, one, you don't feel it's appreciated. Number two, there is no genuine relationship that exists between the people who benefit from this setup. Because if you find that the setup lena benefits both people, you don't mind giving. Because everyone is happy and everyone is genuine. We could be wrong. I mean, there's so many different elements to it, but I strongly believe that the structure and the nature of the relationships that you have within your family dictate how you look at black tax.
I'm glad that you spoke about that, because I feel like sometimes we do stand on like a high horse and say that I think you should do it. I think that you're gonna get blessings and whatever, but we don't realize how much it has caused other people to just be stuck. And I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but there's so many people, even in their adult life, some people don't even get married because you have a responsibility to your family. And if you move on and you create something for yourself, where do they stand in this whole thing of you being able to provide for both families?
Then there's also the conversation around needs and wants, which I feel is quite unfair. I mean, when you are growing up, you aspire to achieve certain things. You get into the space of ukufunda, uqhubeke, and you're here with your peers and you're seeing how they live their lives, and you make the sacrifices that help benefit your own family, nawe futhi. But it's almost like you can never really truly relax and enjoy the fruits of your labor. I get what they're saying about it being a stumbling block. I understand how people feel like it's heavy, it's a burden, because sometimes it's almost like of all the people that are around and are available, you can't afford not to have it together.
Exactly. Because if everybody else is looking, if everybody else is saying Ludwe is the person who's, if I'm down and out, I'm going to Ludwe. But you find yourself in a situation where everybody's going to be down and out and they come to you. Who do you go to when you're down and out? And are you allowed to be down and out when there's so many people that depend on you? Is it even, like, if I'm saying, okay, I don't have money and my whole family is dependent on me for everything, I can't be able to buy bread for them. So am I allowed to be in a position of not even having money for bread?
Or not having a solution.
Or not having any solution? Because it looks bad now. They say, Ludwig, can I please have money for bread? And you're like, I don't have. Okay, so that means you're not going to eat.
What should we call it?
I think we also need to realize that it's not just, it's systematic. I think it goes way back also. So the comparison should not be, as a young person, it shouldn't be that thing that you lean towards. Because it's going to be very detrimental to how you give. Because you always have that thing, I actually could have a car, but no, I'm busy providing for my family. You should look at the fact that someday you might be, because you were born into a family that didn't have anything. You're the only one that was lucky enough to get out of that situation. So maybe give yourself some time.
Do you think, and I'm going to go to the whole breadwinner conversation, Masiti, in a situation or a setup where you were always the breadwinner and you were always the provider, and it somewhat does something to you. I mean, you feel like, you feel present, you feel needed. Yes, queen. You feel needed. And you love feeling needed. You're the savior. You are the one.
Can I expand on that? Yes. Because I feel like that, like if you grew up, you're the breadwinner and you've always been the breadwinner. So you always providing in every situation. I think it goes on into your other
areas of your life. Here's my question, Kengo.
You always want to be needed.
Do you?
You always want to be needed.
Will you ever? Do you get to a point where it gets out of your head? Like you allow someone else to take up that role. Are you able to step out of the breadwinner role when someone else says, "Hey, I'm here. I can rise to the occasion," or does this buying power now give you a voice? And so because you have that voice, you feel like this is the only thing I can hold on to still continue being the driving force. I
think
what's our mistake?
Is the person who's offering you something in the family, or it's somebody totally, it could be somebody, a friend or whatever?
Masiti within the family, you have been the breadwinner, wafundi solandelayo, naye wafunda wasebenza, and now they're on the rise now, but they're saying, listen, I now want to relieve you, right? You've been doing all of this work on your own, I'm here for you. But you find that kona irresistance okoyo because when you take away my buying power, you take away my voice.
Because you know how they say, I know it's always a joke, but people always say there's certain family meetings that can't be held without certain family members. And then there's so it's, I get what you're saying. It gives you that I'm a rich auntie, I am, you know, I'm needed in the family. I don't think that anybody wants that taken away from them. But sometimes it happens by default that it gets taken away from you and you start feeling like, oh, so nobody cares about me. I've seen it happen with people who were breadwinners and they used to take everybody on. And now that they don't have anything, it's almost as if, oh, so none of you guys are going to help me now. So it's also feeling like I did it for you guys. You guys need to come. You guys need to come to the party when it's me who's not able to provide.
So then why do we say, Okanye Manditi, do we acknowledge that there's some sense of fulfillment that we get from being needed? I'm not nullifying the fact that there's pressure. There's definitely pressure because you have to live up to a certain stature, okanye, a certain image, emsebenzini, endlini, maintain your own lifestyle, and then you have to provide for other people as well. But is there no sense of fulfillment that you get from being the one who breeds these solutions and makes things happen? Might not be the case for everyone.
Yeah, which is what I was about to say. Because I feel like it's different for everyone. It depends on what fulfills you. So for me, if I start working and I'm a breadwinner and I have to take care of my whole family, but my plan or my goal is I need to have my car and my house next year. I'll have some sort of resentment towards my family, and I won't feel fulfilled. But then there's the other end that says, I want to finish this duty because I know that one day I'll be able to make something out of myself. So it depends on what you value. So if I value having a car, I'll feel like it's a chore. Like, why are you guys always expecting me to buy you guys bread all the time? I could be saving up to buy my car. But then there's people who are like, I'm buying bread, but I know one day I will get my car.
Why is it that I don't know how to paint this perfect picture, but there's also a nuance that I've picked up, especially with Black people. Because I mean, obviously we are playing catch up, and we are playing catch up, and it has to happen real quick. But you also find that masiti kukhona lo muntu uhlala encedwa apha endlini, they're always the ones who are receiving abakhongozeleyo. And the day that they get a job, it's almost like everyone has an opinion on how they should be spending their money. Why is it that we strip people of their dignity when they're at a point where they are in need? And then when they try to regain their lives, it's almost like, how dare you get your life together? I can still dictate because I am superior.
I think you see it in families when an aunt or an uncle or whoever takes somebody to school, for example, it's almost as if that person has to forever be indebted to them. It's almost as if everything that I do, I can't buy myself a car. Because if I buy a car, but you can't take my... It's something that you'll have to live with forever. Because people feel like you need to pay them back someday. I think it's something where people just naturally feel like I need to get my money's worth of what I gave you. And I think that's the mistake that we make. We shouldn't hold people to that standard because you did it out of your own love or whatever the reason why you wanted to do it. So it's very difficult to understand why people always want to be paid back.
Let's say someone makes 2,000 rands, because bakhona abantu umuntu azame afumane peace job ne and ahole 2,000 rands. Lo muntu lona masithi mhlawumbe unomntana and uyazihlalela wherever it is apha hlala khona. And then they start saying, wohlulwa nakukwenza into ethile nethile, as if bona on the other end they would live and get 2,000 rands inyanga iphela.
But people do that all the time. Even out of this context, people do that all the time. They expect you. I think it's because they don't have the lived experience that you have. So it's almost as if you're supposed to be doing it like this, but they don't know how you manage your finances, and they don't know the importance of how you manage your finances. I think in Black, I can't speak for any other people, but in Black families, we have this thing of expecting people to do things the way that we want them to do it, because we feel like it's at the time which is why people will always say things like, "No, he can't get married. Like you just always have to keep everyone happy before you fulfill your. That's why I'm saying there's children, there's people who are not married till this day, not because they don't want to get married, but because they have to look out for everyone in their families.
Iphela nini Black Tax?
I don't think yaphela. I really don't think yaphela.
Because
I don't think so. Unless you do it, you take everyone to school, you give everyone money, you make sure that everyone's fine, and then everyone builds themselves up. But there's always going to be a black tax somewhere in the family. There's always going to be somebody who's making it and somebody who needs to be helped.
Are we not enabling it?
I think we need to differentiate between enabling it and the fact that as we were never at a point of advantage anyway as Black people.
I also want to come in from the perspective of how we want to be perceived as well. Ngizothatha umzekelo wasezilalini. Umuntu okhulele ezilalini uyasebenza eGoli. There's this thing yokuba xa ubuya usuke eGoli kufuneka kube khona iplastic vula ndiyasindwa ngulo uphathele into nabantwana and uzuqonde other people don't even want to go home because uthi angeke nifike ekhaya niphaca. So in that instance why ungaphumi utsho phandle poqo uba andinayo imali?
It's this thing of perception. You don't want people to perceive you. What like what are you doing in Joburg? You can't even, that's the thing that people are going to ask themselves. What are you doing in Joburg when you can't come home and buy us things? And they don't understand that in Joburg, people pay rent, people do this and that. But it's this thing of you working in Joburg, the assumption is that you're successful. I mean, even when you live in the township, if you work in Joburg, there's something better. You can't just leave La Uhlala Khona and go work so far only for you to not make money. So that's the reason why they have that perception, and that's the reason why people want to maintain that perception. Because how are people going to view me? Like, what am I working for?
Let's try and look at this angle, Yabo Yokba. And I say Yabo because people who feel strongly about, or when they take a stance, they feel extremely strongly about it, that this is Black Tax and Vitiza, and that's that on that. And it's almost like I'm in this box and this is my reality.
Yes.
Let's look at how we can change things around. Should we not redefine our success?
Yes.
Firstly.
Yes. Yes.
And then look at our expectations or managing people's expectations. And I know it's difficult, ekayeni apho. It's not a matter of expectations, it's a matter of survival.
Yes. That's what I was about to head to. That it's not always, sometimes when we look at Black Tax, we think like you need to do the most extravagant things, like you need to take people to school and stuff. But the fact that there's somebody at that household who can buy groceries is a big thing to them. Not every, like in most Black families, it's either there's just that one person who works that has to carry everyone. And that's how we can redefine success in terms of, yes, you're carrying everyone, but at some point, maybe some of them need to let go of the expectation of you providing for all of them, so that you also can progress in your own life, which doesn't mean that you don't do anything for them, but they need to understand that this month I can do this much.
And that's that on that.
So that I can also focus on the things that I want to achieve. Because you'll be 50 and you'll still be, trying to manage the expectations.
And this thing, sometimes we need to, it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. I also want to look at abo bantu abo who are doing those little things, but it's still what others would consider as a Black Tax. Do they see it as Black Tax? Bona in those instances, that would be very interesting to find out actually. Because you find that even this term might just be a thing of it's available to those who have options not to provide.
Exactly. And I think that term, because I think if you go to other people and you ask them what Black Tax is, they wouldn't even know what you're talking about. I think maybe they call it Black Tax. Certain people call it Black Tax because it's taxing them from the things that they would have liked to have done instead of doing what you're expecting them to do as a family. Then there's people who are like, no, this is my family. If I'm not giving them these things, then who else is going to give them?
How do we balance it out?
By your family not expecting more than you can give. I think for me, it's more the family, because as a person, you'll always be willing to give, especially if you see a need. But sometimes as a family, if somebody's working, if you're working and we are family members, and I feel like, okay, I need to actually go register at my university, I probably need to tell you like a year before so that you know that you need to budget for that, because it inconveniences your whole life as a person, because you have to plan and structure your life around what does my family need more than what you need as a person.
Why I got to figure out disrespect, because I also feel like to a certain degree people feel, I'm going back to those power dynamics once again. It goes back to this thing of
who's disrespectful?
The people, the breadwinner.
People that are giving. Oh yes. 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 So there's people, like you said, it gives them a power dynamic and it gives them this perception that people think that they have money. There's people in certain households, who will tell everyone, I'm buying this thing for my family. Like if it wasn't for me, like there's people who would have arguments with each other and be like, but when Okogamina from head to toe, you know,
wow.
It's things like that, and you're just like, if you are gonna say things like that, then don't do it. Don't do it. If you feel like next thing you guys are having an argument, if it wasn't for me, we were outland. So why are you doing it if you feel like that?
There's two things that I think will be my parting words, right? Firstly, don't take everything that you hear or see around you as your truth. Because it's possible for you in this day and age to feel okay with providing for your family and not necessarily feeling the pressure to say, ndiyasindwa. If I will sindwa and you're doing it and you're willing, it's okay because that fulfills you. Allow that to be londo leyo oyifunayo and do it boldly because it's a choice that you're making. Secondly, this narrative of a young professional almost always has to have something that's not right. Let's challenge that. Because you find that some people almost want to find into enzothi yiyo enibambezeleyo mna. You find that Black Tax is not really much kuye, but uzobambelela kuye uba yo nonke nindiphethe kabuhlungu kanti they are afraid of facing themselves and the disappointments that they have put themselves through. So be realistic with yourself. Are you really experiencing it? And also, it's okay for you not to go through a challenge or have an interesting twist.
It's okay
it will come.
It's okay for you to acknowledge it as something that you're okay with doing for your family.
And it's okay for you to have a normal life that doesn't have anything exindayo. Let us also normalize living. Yes, like the nice things. But
let's not forget that there's people that are forced into not living a soft life.
That's true.
Yeah.
But do not try to forge
this narrative
that challenge.
I think it's because people think that as South Africans generally we are drawn to struggle. You have to have a struggle. You can't be a person that grew up and everybody you were provided for, you were fine, because they think that people won't find them relatable.
It does not invalidate anyone. I feel like, if anything, that could be your strongest point. That you have had things so good that you might just be ready to take on the next, your career, your life, your relationships to the next level, because all those people who have to deal with those struggles, there's emotional baggage that comes with all of that. Now, do not try to forge a struggle or a challenge because it looks good or it sounds good relatable to your story. I think that that's one of the mistakes that sins I, and sometimes spenela Black Tax when we don't have anything, but we're afraid to say, I have disappointed myself because I made mistakes here and there.
No, I totally agree with that. I think we must do away with the narrative of not acknowledging the fact that you don't have to struggle for you to be successful. It's okay. It's really okay to just be successful. Black people deserve to live a soft life and a great life. So the more we see people that come out and own that, the more it will be possible for somebody else who wants to live like that. So I think whoever is going through Black Tax, if it fulfills you, I think it's a great thing. And if it's a heavy burden, I just hope that someday, people get to experience the life that they truly want to live.
And if you're not comfortable with the term Black Tax, give it a term that you're most comfortable with, because that is how you will find it in you to continue providing or continue contributing until there comes a time where you don't have to do it anymore.
Exactly.
That's it for this week. Catch us next time on But Seriously We Mean It, when we have conversations that come to you as an afterthought.